911 Church Street, Fredonia, New York, 14063, on this December 22nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'm Mayor Michael Ferguson. We call this meeting to order. Roll call of trustees. Trustee Twitchell.
Here.
Trustee Syracuse.
Here.
Trustee Brockler.
Here.
Trustee Wendell.
Here.
Trustee Esperson.
Here.
Before I go any further, that was the final roll call for two of our trustees tonight. Michelle Twitchell, who's been with us over 8 years, right?
Well, I was
Serving the community.
Years ago for 4 years.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
recently.
And numerous boards for us, or committees for us with it. And so we thank you for that. And Trustee Syracuse, your very last night tonight. So, so thank you for what you have done as well. You served on a number of committees and served it very well as both of you being great citizens of the community. So we thank you very much for your service to the community, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
I did mention Trustee Brockler and Trustee Wendell and Trustee Esperson, correct? Who will be with us, whether they wanted to or not. So there we go. Well, we'll have two new trustees joining us in the first meeting of the year. Christine Cruz-Keefe and Leanne Lazzaroni, and we'll introduce you to them on that first night. Both will be sworn in, by the way, on New Year's Day in the lobby. Time has not been established yet. We'll have that in the paper. So if you're around, and trustees, if you'd like to stop by and welcome both people coming in, we would greatly appreciate it. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The approval of the minutes.
Whereas members of this board have read the official minutes of the Board of Trustees regular meeting of December 8th, 2025, and be it resolved that the board hereby approves the minutes as entered into the official minutes, and be it further resolved that the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Second.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak, once recognized, shall stand at the microphone, state their name. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes of speaking for themselves, 5 minutes of speaking on behalf of a group. I will ask the speakers to refrain from remarks that are in poor taste, are slanderous, or not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board. Andrew Ludwig.
I'd like to ask for 5 minutes since I'm speaking on behalf of SOAR. And I'd like to start off by thanking Trustee Syracuse for her service to the village, and especially thanking Trustee Twitchell for her outstanding service to the village for these last years. Recent claims that Fredonia's December boil water order and the recent water main breaks are somehow the fault of Save Our Reservoir and the pending environmental lawsuit set for January 8th have been made in social media and elsewhere. And I've got the weekend newspaper that says Ferguson slams water foes, and I think some of these comments probably stem from some of the mayor's comments in the paper. Just want to point out that, as reported, the most recent boil water order was reportedly the result of a piece of failed equipment and the failure of plant management to have spare parts on hand to address predictable equipment failure. This occurred after Trustee Wendell promised months ago to investigate the standard operating procedures of the plant in order to prevent future boil water orders. Is it standard operating procedure to not have spare parts available and in stock for predictable maintenance and equipment failure? As stated numerous times by numerous knowledgeable individuals, Fredonia's numerous water main breaks are due to aging infrastructure and will continue until the 100-year-old water pipes are replaced. Also, as stated numerous times by knowledgeable information from knowledgeable individuals, if Fredonia discontinues producing and selling water, the village will lose a valuable revenue source often used to replace aging pipes and infrastructure. Now, Mayor Ferguson, you were quoted on the front page of the Observer calling out as lies claims that Fredonia's water rates would skyrocket if an agreement to buy water from the North Cardigan Water District were entered into. This is after two Labella reports have shown that buying water from the North Cardigan Water District is the most expensive option. The mayor and the trustees were also shown research and projections done by former village administrator, the late James Sedota, before his untimely death. Sedota's in-depth research also indicates that Fredonia's water rates will rise substantially if the village purchases water from the North County Water District. And no one on this board has addressed the added expense of buying water from North County Water District for incidental losses like faulty water meters, municipal use, water from mainline breaks. These mainline breaks that we just had, if we were buying water from the North County Water District, we would have paid for every drop. And who's going to pay for that? The village water customers are going to pay for that in terms of increased water rates. Misguided individuals blaming SOAR and the lawsuit for Fredonia's water woes should actually be thanking them, because the members of SOAR are spending their own time, money, and a whole lot of effort and getting a whole lot of disrespect from this board and members of the community trying to do what's best for the village and save the village millions of dollars in the long run. Mayor, your comments about the cost of the lawsuit are out of line. Just a reminder, the village lost the first lawsuit. The previous suit and the current one would not be possible if you had just simply followed local and state laws. And the 32K or whatever it's going to be pales in comparison to the 56% tax increase you put on the village residents. It pales in comparison to the Pomfret, Portland, Dunkirk wastewater treatment agreement that you've led into. You know, these concerns about money for a lawsuit about the water, they just pale in comparison to those costs, and those costs are on you anyway. And before you call out facts and figures and research as lies, perhaps you could produce some of your own facts and figures that show otherwise. But you can't do that because you don't have any.
James Linden. Okay, Tom Carpenter.
Tom Carpenter, I live on Sunset Drive in Fredonia. I'm a 52-year resident of the village. Last night, we had yet another water break just around the corner from my home. We had no water for many, many hours. I did see as well that St. George, thanks to St. George for coming in and assisting the village crew. I would not have wanted to work outside last night. I was appreciative that they did do what they did and they got the water back on. But yet there's another. If you go down Gardner Street, my street, Johnson Street, and just count the spots where there's the broken water, it's just ridiculous. And that's negligence on the part of this village government for not doing more to strengthen and repair our infrastructure of our water system. First of all and foremost, thank you. I would not have had the patience, the temperament, none of it that you've had. And there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of village residents who thank you. And they do. And we're going to miss you. And again, I couldn't have done what you did over the last 2 years. And thank you. I think you're a fine elected official. And you represented this community at a very high level. Thank you. I've always wondered why New York State didn't have a recall for elected officials, because we need one. This board is the poster child. And I guarantee you, if we had a recall in this state, 5 of you wouldn't be here right now. You, Mr. Mayor, you suggest that we, the concerned citizens and educated village residents, are responsible for this village spending $32,000 on lawsuits? That's you. You guys are responsible for that. You're the ones who broke the law. And we'll find out again shortly whether you're still continuing to break the law. Yeah, we'll find out. Another thing I wanted to say is that I've thought about this repeatedly, and I'm wondering who benefits from the decisions that you make, this board makes. And I realize it's the residents of other municipalities, like the county of Chautauqua. $1.27 per thousand for 30 years. What is it, 3% a year it goes up? So we become a revenue stream for the county of Chautauqua. So that's what the scam's about, right there. Or the town of Pomfret. Supervisor Pecos still should either resign as supervisor or chairman of the water district. There's a distinct and unquestionable conflict of interest. And who it hurts is the residents of the Village of Fredonia, which you guys should be fighting for. I don't understand it. Water customers outside of the Village of Fredonia paying 30%. We're paying 70% more than they are. And of course, there's the city of Dunkirk. And I don't, of course, will benefit greatly. So the county of Chautauqua is going to benefit. The town of Pomfret's going to benefit. Outside sewer customers are going to benefit. The city of Dunkirk's going to benefit. I just would say, what about the residents of Fredonia? There's more I'd like to say, but my time is out. Michelle, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
You've done an excellent job. Thanks.
Sam Drayle.
I have 3 or 4 points I'd like to make tonight, Mayor, board members. It was in the newspaper again about Glasgow Park, and that land should not be sold, in my opinion. And it's a source for water if we ever need to. If we keep the reservoir, it's an emergency source of water. DEC has never told the village you can't use Cassadaga Lake. I was there when we had the droughts. I know what happened. They encouraged us not to go to Cassadaga Lake. They didn't say we never could. In fact, the regulations in the state of New York state that we can go to Cassadaga Lake or any body of water in case of fire or other public emergency. So I'd like to put that to rest. Regarding the citizen lawsuit to require a seeker, the residents who sued the village board to require a seeker should not be blamed for the village incurring $32,000 in legal fees to oppose the citizens' lawsuit. The citizens were exercising their legal rights. The village failed to complete a seeker, which Judge Hanlon correctly found violated seeker laws. Making a drastic change on where the village is to obtain water is probably the most important decision the village board can make, and it definitely required an environmental review. And the village board failed to do that environmental review. How could the village avoid that $32,000 in legal fees? Very simple. You could call up the attorneys and say, put this on hold. We're going to voluntarily do the seeker. You wouldn't have a lawsuit. But you didn't do that. You continue to oppose the citizens group, thus incurring, on your own motion, a large legal bill for being stubborn. Regarding the PPD sewer district, the village made a very serious and expensive mistake by approving a 61% discount to the sewer district. That loss of revenue will have to be made up by the village residents through increased water rates and/or taxes. The contract does not give the village board the needed language to increase rates whenever the village board deems it necessary to do so. The sewer rate to the district should have been at least the same rate as village residents and could have been higher, as the village is entitled to get a reasonable return on its investment. That building, that sewage treatment plant building was there for probably 8 to 10 years, and we made mortgage payments on it. That's not included in the rate. We could have included that. The village residents will be charged $8 per 1,000 gallons of water consumed, whereas the district will only be charged $3.10 per 1,000 gallons of water. That's a 61% reduction in what the village residents are charged. It amounts to a subsidy. And in my mind, it's an unauthorized expenditure of village money. Also, I believe the mayor said something about volume discounts in the water district, North County Water District. How many of you have read that district contract? Is there a volume discount?
There's a discount depending on the amount of water sold based on the cost of production.
That's incorrect.
No,
There is
that
no
is-
volume discount in the contract
I didn't say
at
it's a
all.
volume discount.
There is no volume discount.
That's how the price is adjusted yearly.
You know,
Yes, it is.
I can tell you this,
Okay.
if you
All right.
read the contract, let me finish what I'm saying.
Oh, go ahead.
If you read that contract,
I
you
did read
won't
it.
be able to determine how the rate is to be fixed. It's impossible. You need a mathematical genius. I suggest you read that and you come to a different conclusion. I don't think you've read it.
Thank you, Sam.
There's other things I'd like to say, Mayor Meal, put it in the letter to the paper.
Thank you. That closes the public portion this evening. We have Mayor's report. Just wanted to thank the village and wanted to thank, well, first I want to thank the DPW and St. George for the response yesterday to the 4 breaks that we had. That was a water pressure issue as well as, again, very, very cold temperatures. Again, while we were at home, safe and sound, these men and women of the DPW and St. George were out digging through the mud and trying to make sure that they had everything back in place. The break started about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and were wrapped up by about 10 o'clock. I also want to remind people that, the DPW is still extremely shorthanded at this point. In fact, we have a hiring tonight we're going to be talking about. But they did a great job, and thank you to them. Also want to wish the village and our friends at the town of Pomfret a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we hope that we'll be excited about the start of the new year coming about. Correspondence. This is, I'll read this. This was dated December 16, 2025, received by David Price, Police Chief, announcing his retirement. I'd like to read that for you. To citizens of Fredonia, Mayor Michael Ferguson, Village Board of Trustees, the Fredonia Police Benevolent Association, and professional dispatchers of the Fredonia Police Department. It has been an honor to serve the citizens of the Village of Fredonia for the past 30 years in various capacities, especially the last 5 as your Chief of Police. I'm especially proud of the men and the women that I've had the privilege to work with, both past and present. I am proud of the relationships I have developed with members of law enforcement, agencies, and the District Attorney's Office. I've done my best to provide and support public safety for the Village of Fredonia. After much consideration, I've decided it's in the best interest of the community and my family that I retire from my position as Chief of Police. In order to help provide an orderly transition, my last day as your police chief will be January 23rd, 2026. I will move on to the next chapter of my life and allow someone else to take over the fresh set of ideas that will allow our department to move forward into the future. Being a police officer has been rewarding and fulfilling, and I sincerely thank the Village of Fredonia for giving me this opportunity. I want to leave you with all my deepest gratitude, as it's been an amazing journey and a career serving you. Respectfully, David E. Price, Chief of Police. I want to thank David. When I first took office, the very first thing he said to me is, I am proud of this community, and this is my community. And I believe him. And it wasn't boastful, it's the sense of pride that he had in being not only a resident, but an officer. Not just the chief, but a police officer in his early days. And then rising to the position of chief. It is a very difficult job. It's a very difficult job with some of the budgets that he's had to work with, current and past, and he's short-staffed and other things that he needs, but he did it with great pride. And we knew that our neighborhoods were safe. I sat with him and worked side by side with him last year and watched him formulate the program that took the dangers of Not Fred Fest from headlines to almost non-existent. So, David, we salute you, we thank you. And we are proud that you're going to remain a citizen of the Village of Fredonia and Chautauqua County. And we still got half a month to go before you're gone. So Merry Christmas, my friend.
Be it resolved that the board hereby approves the retirement of Police Chief David Price, effective January 23rd, 2026.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse. Trustee. I'm
Aye.
sorry. Okay. Anything for Treasurer's report tonight? Okay. You want to read the code enforcement and justice reports? I got it. You want me to?
Do you have
Okay.
your report, Mayor?
I have no report tonight. I just gave it. Thank you.
We do.
We do.
Oh, my gosh, okay.
That's why I was not prepared.
Wow, there was a little space there that I missed on that, okay. Trustee Esperson.
On December 9th, we had our second negotiating session with the CSEA union, where we scheduled another one. Not a lot of progress was made, but we did exchange ideas. Ursula and I met with Chief Price to discuss the new patrol car funding and his upcoming retirement, which has now been discussed. I met with Dave Bird to discuss his personal needs, equipment needs, anything else he might need at DPW, and we exchanged quite a few ideas. Trustee Wandel was there as well. Trustee Wandel and I met with Dave Felt, wastewater treatment plant, to discuss the request from BOCES to possibly hook into our wastewater collection system. We agreed there are a lot of questions we need answers to. We encouraged him to reach out to the Department of Health, who forwarded BOCES' request that they join us. And I guess this has been kind of an ongoing request from BOCES. Every 6 months or so, they express an interest in joining, and so far, nothing's ever happened. The last statement I have to make is, I find it really curious that during the previous 5 years of the PPD contract, with the exact same cost, never once at a meeting, Sam, did you ever criticize that contract? I went through 5 years of meeting notes, and they had public portion, and it was never mentioned that you criticized it. I'm just telling you what's in those.
I was not village attorney when that contract was formulated.
I'm sure you
I was
were.
not on board. I would have objected to that contract.
And you
The one
said
that was 50% less.
And you said that before, it should never have been signed. You did say that before, the initial, the previous contract should never have been signed. Right, that's what you said.
If I may, I apologize for any out of order here, but that board at the time, which I was removed from that negotiation because I didn't agree with it, but that board at that time agreed that it would benefit both the town, the PPD, and the village if they gave them an opportunity to reduce their I&I issues by giving them a short, that term to, at a reduced cost of expenses, to help them initiating and removing the I&I issue that costs the Village of Fredonia a great cost of processing way more sewage than they should have if that I&I issue wasn't happening. So that caused maintenance and all kinds of costs to that plant. By allowing them to continue with the stormwater and other waters coming into their sewage, which also cost them more money because they were processing, having to pay for something that it wasn't actually sewage coming out. It was just rainwater added to their sewage. So it was an attempt to benefit, to help our neighbor. And it was not intended to continue on. The intent at that time, they said, was that it would at the next contract would go back to the normal type of fees and costs associated as normal processing would have been. The whole idea that you guys keep going back and forth and saying that, well, it was like that okay before, so let's continue it on. Well, that's not that was never the intent, and it does now harm the village because they didn't do what they were supposed to do and finish all of the I&I issues. So if I was still on the board, because they didn't do that, I would be then penalizing them because now it's costing us even more. But that didn't happen. So at least you could be doing the processing for at least to cover our costs and a possible net return to benefit this community. Because we own the processing system, we own it, and now there's cost to maintain it. And they're not even providing costs to help maintain all the repairs that you guys are doing. As Mr. Wandel keeps helping find all these issues that or address issues, which is helpful, but at whose cost? It's not the people we're selling the service to, not anymore. They had their opportunity.
Well, I can
So-
tell you,
This is open.
I know, I realize, but I just wanted to explain because.
He wanted to give the
because of
history.
that. So
well, I can
that's a
tell
history.
you that their memory of the last negotiation and what I just heard aren't on the same page.
Well, I'm
Of
sure
course
not.
it wouldn't
Why
be.
would it?
No,
I'm just telling you,
No.
I'm just telling you what they said.
Did you ever get a letter from the attorney approving this contract?
And you got the email that she said she looked it over.
I'm asking, did you get a letter from the attorney for the village approving this contract?
She sent back the corrections that she recommended we make to the contract.
Was it
Yes.
for this contract?
For this
Can
contract.
we see a copy of that letter?
I emailed you.
I don't have a copy of any letter from you.
Okay.
Okay,
I'd like
well,
to see a
check.
copy of that letter. 'Cause I don't think it's there.
Okay, what else do you have to report, Jim?
I'm done.
Okay. Trustee Rockland,
Nothing today.
trustee Syracuse?
Just want to thank the community for, allowing me to have 4 years to serve my community. It's been very fulfilling. I'm proud of the things that we were able to accomplish. My full-time job does not allow me to participate in political campaigns anymore, so this is where my journey ends, but it's been great, and thank you to everyone that I've served with. It's been great.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank trustee Twitchell for her courage in standing up for the village and its taxpayers. You did a great job.
Thanks. Trustee Twitchell.
yes. I happened to be on the board with Jim to negotiate that PPD contract. And we did go over the reason why it was at a discount. Because they were to stop the storm sewer water from coming into the sewer lines. And that's why they gave them such a big break. Over 5 years, that was to be repaired. And Jim and I, as trustees, we tried to explain that to them and say, look, that time is over. Now it's time for us to charge even what our residents are paying. But as Sam said, we can even charge more than that by state law. We can charge more. And I feel that the village is being shorthanded by this PPD contract because now, as Trustee Wandel has been pointing out, we're having to repair things there. And that $3.10 isn't even helping. It's not even putting a dent into helping any of that work that's being done at the treatment plant. And Jim and I, we did try our best, and I believe they held out until they could find somebody like Trustee Esperson that they could work with the county to convince him, well, we got this before, so let's just continue this. This was never given as a discount before, never. And I don't know if Trustee Esperson understands that, but I just want to, put my 2 cents in by saying this was a bad contract, and I've been against it the whole time because it does not benefit the Village of Fredonia. And just as closing, it was an honor and a privilege to be a trustee here in the village. And it was my second time being a village trustee. And I feel really good about representing the people. I mean, that's what it's about, representing the taxpayers of the Village of Fredonia. And I feel that I was lucky enough to come here and to represent people and be their voice. And I wish much success to the 2 new trustees that are coming in, and I hope they can pick up where I left off. And I want to thank everybody. It was an honor and a privilege working with everyone. It's not an easy job, as you know. We get phone calls all the time. I had a couple myself today. And to really, truly love this village. I do love this village. And I hope it continues in the right direction. And thank you very much. And that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor. Three quick points. Immediately after, unfortunately, about the water break at the water treatment plant last week, I did contact the supervisor, Louis Fred. We had a discussion immediately about exactly what happened. So I was filled in with the details. My understanding of what really occurred was, as we know, our current chlorinator system is old, it's feeble, and it's really on its last leg. So there are two pumps. One of the pumps was not in service at the time, and the one that was in service failed because one of the hoses ruptured. Unfortunately, there was a stock supply issue on hand with the ruptured hose replacing it. However, they had a failure 1 or 2 days prior to that. So there was a little bit of a delay in getting a replacement, and unfortunately, the chlorine residuals went out of tolerance. So that's what caused the break. In regard to Mr. Ludwig's commentary about my interaction with the treatment plant and the SOPs, that is ongoing. I maintain very close communication with our water treatment plant supervisor. I visit the site periodically, and it's my objective to maintain that level of interaction. And hopefully, I will say additionally that there is a new chlorinator project that is in place right now that was really initiated by Trustee Esperson and myself 1 year ago. It does take time in village government to make things work, but the good news is within about a month and a half, we're going to have a new system in place. What does that mean? That means the chronic issues that we have been experiencing in the past primarily with our chlorination system, hopefully will be resolved with that new system. Second, as Trustee Esperson had mentioned, I did meet with our treasurer, Esperson, and our wastewater treatment plant supervisor to discuss the possible addition of the Chautauqua County BOCES system, working with our village wastewater treatment system. That is a possibility, so we are looking into all the details associated with that. And then lastly, on Friday, December 19th, that was this past Friday, I met with a village resident for over 2 hours right here at Village Hall, discussing various and numerous village issues. And that include things like our recent water boil, the status of our wastewater, our water treatment plant, and the current status of the chlorination project. So these are the things that people need to understand. My desire is to be as helpful with information and transparent with people about really what is going on. That is it.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I do want to defend Trustee Esperson that Trustee Esperson did not sign this contract for PPD solely on his own. There's a committee of people that belong there. There's a committee of people that were in the room at the time. And there were multiple meetings sharing facts, sharing the past, sharing the present, and sharing what the other communities surrounding us pay for their sewage treatment. And it was in line with what other communities are paying outside of Fredonia.
It shouldn't have anything to do with the village, because we have our own government and our own charges.
Bottom line is, one particular person didn't negotiate the contract. Many people
They
did.
didn't help build that building,
Okay.
that sewage treatment plant. We are in charge of it, and we pay the expenses for it.
Exactly. Code enforcement.
Code enforcement, month-end report, October 2025. Building permits issued, 22. Inspections, 46. Certificate of occupancy, 31. Certificate of compliance, 6. Violations, 2. Violations satisfied, 1. Fees collected, building permit fees, $2,050. Rental fees, $55. Certificate of compliance, $350. Hearings, water and sewer, $800 for total fees of $2,455. Rental permit issues, 0. Inspections, 1. Renewals, 1. Property maintenance found, 0. Remove, 0. Junk cars and parts found, 0. Remove, 0. Annual fire inspection, 7. Complaints, 3. 2 satisfied. 22 permits generated $2,050 in revenue. The estimated cost of work for the month of October was $283,100.
The Justice Court report for November.
Total number of cases closed, 74. Vehicle and traffic tickets, 35. Criminal cases, 33. Village ordinances, 3. Civil cases, 2. ABC laws, 1. Total fines and surcharges, $2,311. Parking ticket fines, $610, for a total of $2,921.
Resolutions.
Be it resolved that pursuant to Section 5520 of Village Law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $29,000 from A9060.8 Employee Benefits Health Insurance to H3120.2 Police Car.
Second.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires a patrol car for the police department, and whereas Utilitac Equipment Uplifting in Ridgeway, PA has provided a quote in the amount of $50,740.86 for a 2023 Dodge Pursuit Charger, as well as the necessary equipment to outfit the vehicle. And whereas this vehicle is necessary for the village's purpose, therefore be it resolved, the village board hereby authorizes the purchase of the 2023 Dodge Pursuit Charger from Utilitac Equipment Uplifting in the amount of $50,740.86.
Second.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires a plow for the 2023 Chevy 1500 LT at the Street Department, and whereas Village Tier Trailer Sales Incorporated, Jamestown, New York, has provided a quote in the amount of $7,687 for a 7.6 HT Series with halogen light, and whereas the plow is necessary for the village's purposes, therefore be it resolved, the board hereby authorizes the purchase of the 7.6 HT Series with halogen light from Southern Tier Trailer Sales Incorporated in the amount of $7,687.
Second.
Before we vote, I want the public to know we are down to one snowplow right now. Plows are being utilized. This was a suggestion from our new DPW director, which will save us. The new truck is a lot more than this, to be able to retrofit one of the pickups that we have so that we can focus on parking lot and side street plowing, as opposed to going out and buying a second large truck. We're looking at the possible cost of fixing that truck. We'll have more information, but right now, 'tis the season. So let's take a vote. Trustee Twitchell.
Nay.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Whereas Mayville Tremaine Insurance will provide the insurance coverage for the Village of Fredonia effective January 1st, 2026 through January 1st, 2020, December, thank you, 31st, 2026, at an annual premium of $418,259, as set forth in Mayville Tremaine proposal dated December 18th, 2025. Will be New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal. Now therefore, be it resolved that the village treasurer is hereby authorized to accept the Mayville Tremaine insurance proposal for insurance renewal.
Second.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Be resolved that the Village of Fredonia has scheduled a workshop of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia for January 5th, 2026 at 4:30 PM with the board meeting to immediately follow. Further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to publish said notice and mail a copy to WDOE Radio and the Dunkirk Observer.
Second.
Trustee Twitchell.
Before I vote on this, I really believe that we should have a time for when the regular board meeting starts. This is a workshop at 4:30, and just to say that it immediately follows, maybe some people, they're eating at that time, 4:30, and they would like to maybe just come for when the regular board meeting. So because there is no time of when the regular boarding meeting will start, I'm just going to vote nay on this.
Okay, duly noted. Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I make a motion. I'm sorry, we have two more. You're absolutely correct. Boy, I'm glad one of you guys are on the ball tonight.
Whereas the Village of Fredonia requires a drive salter at the street department, and whereas Southern Tier Trailer Sales Incorporated, Jamestown, New York, has provided a quote in the amount of $17,962 for a Fisher 5.0 stainless auger drive salter, and whereas Southern Tier Trailer Sales will take in trade the 2018 New Holland Boomer tractor that the village currently owns in an even trade, and whereas the salter is necessary for the village's purpose and the tractor is not in use, therefore, be it resolved, the board hereby authorizes the purchase of the Fisher 5.0 stainless auger drive salter and the trade of the 2018 New Holland Boomer tractor for a total cost to the village of $0.
Second.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye. Whereas the Village of
Oh,
Fredonia...
hold on. Trustee Twitchell, can you explain this?
Certainly.
Thank you.
I'll explain it. This is what I had been working with Jim Joy, who brought it to my attention, about fixing Candaway Creek and making it more accessible for fishermen to come to the creek and fish. But the issue here is we don't want to deplete the creek of fish. And Jim Joy had called me, and Chico Ray was interested to seeing this being placed as a limit of just catch and release, because otherwise you'll just get busloads of fishermen coming in and just removing all the fish, and we won't have any fish. And this is strictly just for the pleasure of fishing. If fishermen do want to catch fish and keep them, they're able to go outside of the village and to fish in Candaway Creek. But this will enforce that law, so we're able to put up signs to remind people that it's catch and release here in the Village of Fredonia for Candaway Creek.
Sean, I want to thank you for helping to work on that, and Candaway Creek, which we did all that work this summer, and it's worked out well, and should not only make for great fishing, but also prevent a lot of the flooding that we've had in past years.
Correct.
Alberto Ray says that this is a way that most casual fishermen prefer catch and release, and should help us draw more visitors to the community, as opposed to, as you said,
That's right.
a creek and a stream our size can easily be emptied by professional fishermen. So hopefully this will not only help with the fishing community, but will also help with tourism in the area as well. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to read the?
Yes. Whereas the Village of Fredonia has public access in multiple locations for fishing in Candaway Creek, and whereas this fishing is meant strictly for catch and release, not for removal of the creek.
From the creek?
From the creek. Oh, thank you. I know.
From.
Whereas the village is required to place signs on and around the creek with the catch and release information in order for it to be enforced. Therefore, be it resolved, the board hereby authorizes Candaway Creek to be strictly catch and release, and signage to be placed around the creek with the catch and release only information.
I'll second that.
Trustee Esperson?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye. Be it resolved that Jack Ippolito Howard Street, Fredonia 14063, is hereby appointed as a full-time mechanic 2 with the Village of Fredonia Street Department, effective December 23, 2025, at a rate of $20.92 per hour, and will serve a probationary term for 6 months in compliance with all applicable civil service rules and regulations.
Second?
Before we vote, I want to explain once again to the general public about this particular position. A good name, Jack Icpolito, because it's a jack of all trades. And what we mean by that is not only is he a mechanic for the DPW, he'd be a mechanic for the village. You know, we have a lot of vehicles in the village, and there's a great cost to having them sent out for annual checkups, oil changes, tire rotations, all those types of things on top of the other maintenance that has to go on. Jack is also an operator, meaning that you have to pass a civil service test, et cetera, and he has successfully done that. So it's a great addition because he can serve as a Swiss Army knife for many positions throughout the village, but it also fills, again, another position where we are down in the DPW. So this is not a new add-on to the staff. This is replacing one of probably 3 people that, or 2 other people that we're still short on. So I'll call for a vote. Trustee Twitchell?
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse?
Aye.
Trustee Brockler?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
Trustee Esperson? Thank you. Let me double check just in case I miss anything. We are all set, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes tonight's meeting, but I ask for a motion to end this session so we can go into executive session to talk about a legal issue with the board.
I'll make a motion, we enter an executive session to discuss said legal matter.
Second.
Trustee Brockler.
Aye.
Trustee Esperson.
Aye.
Trustee Syracuse.
Aye.
Trustee Wendell.
Aye.
Trustee Twitchell.
Aye.
Once again, our thanks to Trustee Twitchell and Trustee Syracuse and Chief David Price for their service. This is the last full meeting of the board for the year 2025. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and a blessed season for you all. Thank you very much. And we will ask, when we asked for people to leave, if you would please leave the floor entirely and go maybe down to the first floor. We would appreciate that. Thank you. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to Chip, who's always here, Dave Friedman, our camera crew, and our cable access people. I don't want to forget them either. Thank you.